I bet you didn't know that there is a problem with locking differentials. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's sure to give a keyboard off-roader a panic attack. Toyota's A-TRAC.
Are you serious?
I'm in trouble.
What the hell? What did you just...
Now, in order to understand what A-TRAC is, we have to talk about what A-TRAC is not. And A-TRAC is not bullcrap. It is the real flippity deal. But to understand how we got to A-TRAC to begin with, we have to realize that there is a problem with locking differentials or lockers. And this is where the contention between A-TRAC versus lockers lies in. A lot of people don't understand that there is a problem with lockers that's always existed, and that is a locking differential on a four-wheel drive vehicle can only have 25% on each wheel on one axle.
That's not true. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Here is an actual Toyota engineer explaining to all the keyboard off-roaders who think I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't take my word for this. Take an actual automotive engineer who's explaining right here that a locked differential will max out at 25% and 25% on each wheel, period.
So if we're just talking about one axle on a 4x4, we're talking 25% on the left wheel and 25% on the right wheel. You will never get more than 25-25, period. This has been stated ad nauseum by Toyota engineers for decades now. The whole idea behind the development of MTS and A-TRAC and all these brake-actuated traction control systems is to provide the driver with more than 25% power. Toyota claims that you can get up to 50% on one wheel on one axle. Even though this system has been around for decades now, there are still people that insist that the locking differential is the be-all, end-all apex of human 4x4 accomplishment. Take a deep breath. A locking differential is traction control from 1925, 100 years ago. In this 100-year lifespan of locking differentials, Toyota engineers who obviously know what lockers are have attempted to solve the locking differential problem by providing, again, the user with more power. But it's pointless to have this discussion behind a keyboard. You gotta get out there on the trail with A-TRAC or MTS and see that it indeed works. When we actually take a Toyota vehicle with A-TRAC out on a real, actual trail and get three wheels going or two wheels going, in other words, we got a wheel off the ground and one is in the air, the system simply works better than a locker. I've had lockers before. I've had A-TRAC before. A-TRAC over here is better. Not only is the math better, but when you're actually off-road and you get a wheel airborne, you can actually feel the increased power going to the one wheel or two wheels, whatever the case may be, with traction. You can feel that you're getting more power than a locker. There's a certain feeling that you get when you're in a locked vehicle and you get wheels airborne. You can tell that there's a power decrease. When you're in something like A-TRAC, you can feel that the system is routing more power. You can actually feel this. Now, this topic always triggers a panic attack in keyboard off-roaders because great-great-great-granddaddy said the locking differential is what you do when you want to go off-roading. Ancient technology. And the point here today is to break this down as simple as possible. Your locked vehicle is only ever going to give you 25-25, period. Your A-TRAC vehicle can give you 50-0, period. That's the reality you're living in 2025. How this isn't known over the past 2 decades simply comes down to people having preconceived cultural notions of what off-roading is and what you have to have in order to do good off-roading stuff. Times have changed and Toyota has doubled down. Not just Toyota, but all 4x4 manufacturers have systems like A-TRAC on their modern 4x4 vehicles now. And when it comes to Toyota vehicles such as the Land Cruiser 300 GR Sport or the new Lexus LX 700H or the GX 550 Overtrail, they have doubled and tripled down on their traction control systems, and systems like A-TRAC, MTS, crawl control, turn assist, blah, blah, blah. They've all been improved. They even have auto MTS with cameras that will read the road and adjust the traction control settings to, again, provide you with not punishment for not giving you a locker, but a better, safer off-road experience. Somebody is going to ask, well, why did they put lockers on the 700H Overtrail and the Land Cruiser 300 GR Sport if A-TRAC and MTS and traction control is so much better than a locker? The same reason they put a CD player in your Land Cruiser 300 GR Sport that cost $140,000. It's to appease nostalgia nerds that won't give up Grandpappy's notion that lockers are what you do when you off-road. Essentially, Toyota said, they're not going to get it, just give them the lockers, it'll shut them up and they'll buy the vehicle. In essence, it's a redundant system. We know this because if you want to turn on A-TRAC or MTS, it's going to disengage the lockers. Just like when you go to do your Bluetooth on your phone on your Land Cruiser 300 GR Sport stereo system, it's going to automatically disable the CD player, their redundant systems. The trail tells the story. Not the keyboard, not the internet forum, not Reddit, not great-grandpappy. We have yet to find a trail where I would not want A-TRAC over a locker. In other words, I prefer A-TRAC to get that 50-0 when I'm on 2 wheels or 3 wheels. There's no situation where I go, I'd rather have 25-25 instead of 50-0 here. But A-TRAC needs time to react and it will lose forward momentum. The operating frequency or hertz of modern traction control systems is in the hundreds of cycles per second. The ABS wheel sensors, the speed sensors, the pitch, yaw, blah, 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 is sending inputs to the computer at a faster speed that your brain can even comprehend. And before you even know what's going on, the system is taking care of it for you. While technically traction control systems are reactive, they act so fast that Toyota proudly calls them active. And in putting those systems to the test off-road, we found that to be true. I think there's only one other person on YouTube. I think he's in Australia or South Africa, same thing, I don't know. One of those countries. And in the past decade, this guy is the only guy out there that I've seen on YouTube that has said what I always say, which is A-TRAC is better than a locker. I found that peculiar, but I also noted that we have a few things in common. One, we live in the dirt and we're always off-road. And two, we actively seek out situations where a locker would be required off-road to see how traction control performs in comparison. What I mean by that is we try to make A-TRAC fail, and we've yet to be able to do that. Now, if you're a die-hard Toyota nerd, you already know Toyota's off-road engineering philosophy. Their team of engineers has stated for decades, we take our 4x4s off-road, we try to break them, and then if they do, we go back out and try to break them again, and then we fix them, and then we rinse and repeat until nothing breaks or fails. That's the Land Cruiser way. And in miles of Black Diamond Trail experience with A-TRAC and similar systems, there's no argument. They work, they don't have any delay, and they are better than a locker. I know this is inducing panic attacks in some people right this very moment. But the truth is told on this channel. This is not a BS channel. And when you watch these other, quote, automotive journalists testing Toyota 4x4 systems off-road, they always say what triggers a Toyota nerd the most, which is, let's try this, which is sacrilege to basic 4x4ing principle, which is you are configured before you get into any sort of obstacle situation. You don't get stuck in the middle of the obstacle and go, let's try this, and start slapping buttons and hope for the best. That shows that you don't have a fundamental understanding of what 4x4 systems do or when you should apply such systems. And it's been this pervasive lack of basic 4x4ing understanding in the keyboard world and the pretend automotive 4x4 journalist world that has exacerbated this now 20 years old myth of systems like A-TRAC being a downgrade on lockers and not an improvement on lockers. But they do things like A-TRAC for cost cuttings. It's cheaper than a locker. Your dumb donkey of a locking differential from 1925 has been sitting on Toyota's parts bin shelf/warehouse since World War II. Your $20 mechanical locker is not breaking the bank for Toyota. Well, it's connected to the ABS system. Okay, abracadabra, ABS system, now 4x4 go. There had to be R&D, scientists, engineers, testers, developers, and hours and hours and hours of proving that these systems work off-road. Again, we know this because Toyota has added more 4x4 traction control system on their new gens of Land Cruiser products. Nothing I say is going to get through to the keyboard off-roader and the theoretical off-roader unless they actually get their behinds out there on the trail and start romping on A-TRAC. I could assure you that if you really genuinely do next to a locked vehicle, you're going to see that A-TRAC is going to pull you through that obstacle better. It's going to be some three-wheel action here too. And again, this is where your A-TRAC is going to work. There's a replay of that. You can see the wheel flying off the ground and doesn't lose traction. There's no backwards momentum. The system kicks in essentially instantaneously. I mean, just look at this. It's steep and these crazy ruts. You're going to be on three wheels no matter what you do with this situation here. And I can't sing the praises of Toyota's A-TRAC system enough? It simply works. Again, no forward momentum lost. You just hit the gas pedal as a replay there. Notice how the vehicle doesn't slide backwards. The A-TRAC system works, doesn't lose momentum. It carries forward. A-TRAC is 25 years old. This is the LX470. It has A-TRAC the year 2000. A-TRAC came out. What does Toyota say? It says it's the equivalent of having lockers right there. You don't need to use lockers. It's the equivalent, and literally it says the locker is unnecessary. Keep in mind the previous model, the LX450, that the 470 superseded, was triple locked. So they came out with the 470 with A-TRAC to supersede a triple locked Land Cruiser 100 series. Now also keep in mind that Toyota didn't come out like an American, an annoying American like I am, and being all ostentatious and flamboyant about how awesome A-TRAC is. They do the Japanese style, which is very conservative and very, very humble. That's just what the Japanese do. They're not going to yell and scream, A-TRAC is better, in an annoying nerd voice like I'm doing all day and all night and during this video. They're not going to do that. They're going to do it conservative and chill and simply say in the most conservative, humble manner that locking differentials are no longer necessary for off-road stuff. That's coming from Land Cruiser. So when Toyota says that, rest assured that the American translation of that from Japanese is A-TRAC is flippity flippin' awesome, and you don't need lockers anymore. The keyboard off-roaders are melting like the Wicked Witch of the West hearing this. The math doesn't lie. Engineers have said over and over and over and over and over what this system is doing. And the only hurdle to its adoption and acceptance is mass ignorance.